moving on, I wanted to point out there's a transcript available and a little bit of editorialization in the Gray Zone by Ben Norton talking about Ian Henderson. So Ian Henderson is a dissenter who worked for 12 years at the International Watchdog Organization, serving as an inspector team, leader and engineering expert. So he was one of the people who was on the fact-finding mission that produced the OPCW report regarding the alleged sarin gas attack or chemical attack in Duma in April of 2018. So this is something that we've covered on this show numerous times. There are now nearly 20 engineers that were on the OPCW fact-finding mission to Duma that have concluded that the scene is not what you would expect from an actual aerial gas attack. Basically, the science and forensics of it are not sound. And all of these nearly 20 engineers have said that their reports were either censored or completely omitted from the official OPCW report, alleging that the United States has basically bullied OPCW members into saying that the gas attack was an aerial attack. It did come from the Syrian government, and it was actually a gas attack, and then that ended up justifying American aggression shortly thereafter. Ian Henderson now is speaking directly to the UN, and you can read his words in this full transcript. He told UN Security Council, a UN Security Council session convened on January 20th by Russia's delegation, that OPCW management has rejected his group's scientific research, dismissed the team, and produced another report that totally contradicted their initial findings. Quote, "We had serious misgivings that a chemical attack had occurred," Henderson said, referring to the fact-finding mission team in Duma. The former OPCW inspector added that he had compiled evidence through months of research that, quote, "provided further support for the view that there had not been a chemical attack." So this is sort of an ongoing cry for, hey, can we take this seriously? And this is, we've been reporting on this repeatedly as, more and more engineers have come forward and agreed and said,
let's be fair, we've talked about this since the attack happened, how we were like, this attack doesn't make any sense on day one.
Right. And and there were other attacks that we were skeptical of as well. I think this is the same attack that Jimmy Dore always shows that video of the CNN reporter sniffing the backpack. It's like, yeah, if you believe that there is a chemical agent on that backpack, the first thing any rational person would do is shove their face into it.
Wait, does this have sarin gas on it?
Yeah, yes, it smells chemically. Oh, my goodness. And so our skepticism in that, we feel very vindicated in. And it continues to be frustrating that you do not see this reported in any kind of mainstream outlet. You're not going to see this in the New York Times. You're not going to see this on CNN. MSNBC won't carry it. You won't see it on the BBC. But it's there. And now it's even in testimony at the UN. How much more official does it need to be, right, for anyone to take it seriously? Or is it going to just perpetually be ignored? My suspicion is it will be perpetually ignored because it undercuts kind of the argument for America doing America stuff.
Yeah, because, well, let's be real. If this was taken seriously, then there's two angles that this would have to go through. Either A, there wasn't an attack and the U.S. just looked for someone to say something at somewhere at some time to do what it already wanted, which would make America look just incredibly foolish, and that we literally based a war off of Clorox being used to clean a shopping area, or that Saudi Arabia funded the attack. And like Paul was talking about, this bomb that was supposed to go through this ceiling that wasn't the right shape for it to go through, and it looks like it was just sat on a bed, when if it was a bomb, the bed wouldn't exist anymore. It was just placed there. So again, if the answer isn't what the U.S. is saying, the U.S. is either complicit in war crimes against civilians or fabricated an attack, which given U.S. past history is more likely, and just invaded Syria on pretenses that us, when we first started the show and we were still getting into foreign politics, could see through and say that doesn't sound like it. Because again, our point.
Wait, does it not pass the smell test?
Oh no. So, but like we were saying when it first came out, we were like, okay, so wait. So he's given up his nuclear weapons, his chemical weapons. He's able to barrel bomb people, and this is Bashar al-Assad. He's able to barrel bomb people, and no one cares about that. He's winning the civil war. He's defeating ISIS. He's reclaiming his territory. The U.S. is about to move out. Inspectors are coming in to test for chemical weapons. Now is the time to launch it's always seemed weird, and the U.S. media, as always, runs with it because they will happily transcribe what the government says. And I will remind everyone that they claim to hate Donald Trump. They claim to think he's a destroyer. But anytime the government says, hey, this happened in foreign policy, they're like, okay, what you said is what we will report. So,
yeah, like one of the interesting things about the engineering of how they looked at these canisters in this building, you mentioned that. So the hole in the roof is not what you would expect. And I like the way one of the engineers, it's not Ian Henderson, but a different engineer described it as, imagine you take a nail and you poke it through a piece of plyboard. The hole that it makes is the diameter of the nail. That's what it is. So the hole that's in this roof here is like 3 times the size of the diameter of the proposed missile, which is not what would happen. Also, the rebar, so it's a concrete roof with reinforced, steel rebar. The rebar blew out, implying that there was an explosion inside, blowing it out. So why is it's so obvious? Someone with a basic understanding of simple physics should be able to say this seems weird. This doesn't seem to purport it. Anyway, we're going to keep an eye on this. I don't expect to see any kind of kowtowing or apologies of any kind from Western press or from the United States in general.
Yeah.
But it's due.
It is. And hopefully Sanders gets in, that stuff gets reopened.
Mm-hmm.